And here we go.
There's the deluge. Here's ignition.
Doubling up.
Did it just do a Kerbal?
Back to the moon and beyond.
Put that in the big bag, you know.
Back at home, we all have a lot of work to do, but from here, it sure looks like a perfect flow.
Propulsion continues to be normal.
We did have an observation. 343 unfolds to go.
It's orange.
Water towers can fly!
Bingo! Right in the center. Where's Jacqueline? There it is!
That was surreal.
That's not what we want to see.
No!
Oh my god.
Yikes. You bet. We don't need any more of these.
Well, hello everybody. It's a Vandenberg launch via our own cameras. Now, that's a unique thing as it is because, as you all know, we've been trying to expand our coverage all the time. You all know what we do at Starbase. You all know with Space Coast Live. You all know what we do on McGregor Live. Vandenberg is a cool thing to bring in because normally that's really hard to do. So we are thankful for having, and I'm introducing at the same time, Magnus. Thank you, Magnus, for being out there at midnight in California, despite the foggy conditions, providing the best you can with your feed.
Well, as always, it's great to be here in the field. I wish I could do more about the weather. Unfortunately, we don't have a button to simply press and make it clear. But we're here, and we're going to do our best to provide some coverage here. And yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Indeed. And we have Sukno producing in the background, because I always thank the producer. That's a bit of a joke there, because I sometimes forget. But there we go. We've got Sukno producing in the background. We did start this stream not normally at our 60 minutes to go point because of the weather conditions. We didn't want to sort of like have you have to go through what would be a long extended time of watching fog. But we are coming up on the T-minus 20-minute event, actually. So that is a point which we won't even see. The irony is SpaceX's cameras at the pad, often at Vandenberg, just show completely fogged out views. It is something Vandenberg has. But before we started the stream, Magnus, you told me something interesting, that the marine layer that causes this fogged out view is something that's more seasonal. It actually could be a chance that in the launches to come, that will improve.
Yeah, so we like to talk about Vandenberg being foggy, and the conditions we're dealing with right now is not typical fog. The temperature here is over the dual layer, so we're not dealing with fog, traditional fog per se. What we are dealing with are super low level clouds. And if you watched our previous stream, you were able to see we were able to get a pad shot, but we lost the rocket a couple seconds as it flew into those clouds. That is what is known as the marine layer. And during the summer months of May, June, July, August, and early September, it is very hot here, which causes the marine layer to usually roll in during the evenings, and that causes a little bit difficulty viewing conditions. However, as we get closer to the winter months, that marine layer is going to go farther out to sea, and it usually doesn't roll in as much as it does, which is going to provide more clear launch opportunities in the next few months or so. But until then, we have to deal with some foggy views.
Indeed. I'll tell you one thing now. We were kind of like wondering, do we go live with this or do we call it a day because of the weather conditions? We thought, no, let's try our best. We'll use this as an opportunity to test things, which is always a very prudent thing to do ahead of when you get the nice clear views. Then you know what you're doing. You've got a routine. You understand what things, because it's not easy. You would think it's basically just take a camera and put it on the internet. It doesn't work that way. That's the kind of comment I would come up with before I got involved with what the live streams are with NSF. It's a whole different ball game to what you think it is. But I will say, this is for Magnus and Sukno. Crispy has done a $200 tip right off the bat on this stream. Crispy, that is incredible support. That really is super. And the tip means we get everything towards NSF there because it doesn't get, there's no Google cut from that or anything like that. So that's amazing support and really caught me unawares and caught me by surprise when I turned the panel up. By the way, speaking of the panel, if you do have any questions during this launch, obviously we've got 19 minutes to launch, and obviously it won't be long after drone ship landing that we'll have to end this stream because that's when the SpaceX cuts their feed as well. When we get any questions, do at NASASpaceflight or ANSF, followed by your question. That way it goes into our panel and I can click on it and it can even show it on screen, like the boop from Crispy. $200 to say boop. I mean, that is, I take that as just amazing support, and you just put anything in there just to make sure the message comes through. Really appreciate it. And Flippers, one of our regulars, has gifted 5 Red Team memberships as well. So thank you for that. If you did get a gifted membership, do say thank you because you got it for free for a month. A month in which we may get a Starship launch. Now, currently it's mid-September, but that's not too much of a delay. The good news is Ship 41 has completed its static fire test, and SpaceX confirmed both those tests were good. They do a tweet when it's a good test. When there's not a good test, you'll find there's not a tweet, and you'll start asking, was there something wrong there? But everything went well with Ship 41. Next is Booster to go out to Pad 2 for its static fire test as well. Overly Curious Cat, who was in right from the start, because I was checking out the feed when there's like about 3 people in here. Overly Curious Cat has to get a question in because you were here from the start. What are those things on screen right now? Magnus, what lights? Well, basically your position there at Vandenberg, that might help. Where are you right now?
Yeah, so I would like to say, and would love to say, there's more to see, but you're looking at a couple lampposts at a parking lot where I typically sit. I typically sit on a mound here, which provides a direct line of sight at the launch pad. If there was a rocket on the pad, which there is, it would be in the center of the screen. You'd see those pad lights. On the left side of your screen, you can see a little bit of lights emitting that, and that is from Pad 3. Slick 3 here at Vandenberg. So we're able to see the lights from that one, but we are not able to see anything from 4 at this point in time. It was crystal clear when I came here this evening, but unfortunately, as we got ready to begin here, the marine layer rolled in, and we lost sight of everything.
Well, there we go. But at least we've got lampposts. If you want quality lamppost coverage, boys and girls, then this is the place to come. When I started NSF 21 years ago, I was hoping we'd get to see Californian lampposts live. It's my dream. It's the dream come true. That's all I can say. But Magnus did provide an update in the background there. I'm gonna say it on your behalf. The RP1 on stage 2 load is complete. That would be around the 20-minute mark. So that means everything's on track. And now we're into stage 2 LOX load start as well. So everything's proceeding well. And it is a long window, so they're doing well to go through. There's a timeline on screen as well, you lucky people. There we go. So you can see what's been happening and what's coming up. And of course, we are all hoping we get down to 16 minutes time. We get to see a bit of orange in this fog. And that will be liftoff of the Falcon 9. Let's talk about this Falcon 9, shall we? Because it's boosted 1109. The 9 on the end, for people who are new to this and may not understand that, is its 9th flight. That's what the number on the end means. And we're looking forward to seeing Starships with those numbers as well. We've seen some boosters with 2 on the end, but we're looking forward to the days where we start talking about ships with 30 on the end, for example, which Falcons are now accustomed to. But there we go. We've got a booster 1109. That's what it's called. 27-day, 15-hour, 33 minutes and 5 seconds. Who times these things? Turnaround since its previous launch. The booster history is that I am not going to even try to read all those numbers out because I'll sound like I'm doing machine code live on air. But it's done a lot of missions already. Only 9, but the other ones have done 30 odd, which is kind of crazy. I know Ryan Caton on the previous stream did a full rundown of every single mission, and it did sound quite strange to read them all out. The satellites launched 183. Will be 210 after this flight, because this flight is involving Starlinks, as you know. Starlink 1520 is the mission. The booster recovery is on, of course, I Still Love You, which is obviously the only one out there, the only drone ship on the West Coast. So that makes perfect sense. That, of course, that drone ship did move from Florida. I do remember the days where boosters in Florida were landing on that ship. The recovery, fairing recovery, this is the thing I want to talk about, is Go Beyond. Now, they've got Bob and Doug out on the East Coast. Go Beyond, we're picking up these phones. People always ask, and it's a fair question, why did they even bother just those flappy bits at the top, they don't mean much. They cost millions of dollars. So the fact that they're recovering, I think today's earlier launch actually involved a 30th flight of a fairing, which is crazy. Whereas normally you'd have to rebuy a fairing, which are, again, long lead times. These are things that are not got in stock. You've got to go order them in advance. And they cost millions of dollars. So recovering them saves a lot of money as well, which is really important. Rocket trajectory is southwest. So I read it before you moved it, so no. so if you are lucky enough to get any views outside of this fog, that's the direction it's traveling. I want to thank Mike, by the way. Mike has become a Patreon member. So you are a member of our community, and it always is appreciated. Every level is appreciated. And again, that is within this time zone of where you'll get benefits such as the behind-the-scenes streams and the multi-stream madness, we call it, on the hopeful upcoming launch of Starship, which is a big, big deal to those who are obviously aware, because it is the big interest rocket there is around there. Question is, that STEM nerd wants to know, if I wanted to see a launch from Vandenberg, you ready for this, Magnus? If you wanted to see a launch from Vandenberg, assuming the fog was absent, how would I get there without a car or without with public transportation? Where would you watch? So public transportation to Vandenberg, Magnus, what would be your recommended route?
Well, you're in luck because I'm sitting at a train station right now. If it weren't for the fact that I could see the pad, I would pan the camera and show you the train tracks. But this is known as Surf Beach Station, Lombok Surf Station. And you can take the Pacific Surfliner from Los Angeles or San Diego all the way up here. They have a couple departures per day. And they stop here, and you can take the train to watch a rocket. In the case that there is a train on the tracks at the same time as a launch is scheduled, they will hold the trains at a specific hold point. So the trains wait for the rockets. I don't think there's many other places where you have where a train is delayed because of a rocket launch.
Just love the idea. I mean, as someone from the UK, we rely on trains for any kind of transportation over a 60-minute car journey. We just don't like driving over it, mainly because our roads are terrible and it's always like gridlock if you go on any motorway at any kind of like rush hour time. Train is where you do it. I'm from York. York is one of the biggest train stations in the UK. You can get to anywhere from York. So that is obvious. Just walk to the train station and get a train. The train at Vandenberg does sounds like a lot of fun, and just the fact that you're going to Vandenberg would be appealing enough for me. Bideford's in chat. Bideford, every stream, Bideford. I see you. Don't miss a stream. Even when you're working, you'll pop in and say, I'm working, but here's a super chat, which is amazing support, and I do appreciate it. You've even got your chatbot command. Let me multitask, which is something which is always asking for trouble. Bideford, hang on, bear with me, chat. Bideford, there we go. Because you've got your own command, you're that regular. Wait, what? Crispy on, holy cow, early morning for you. I've not been to sleep yet. It's 8 a.m. I'm in trouble. Late nights for me. What a pleasant surprise other than the fog in Vandenberg. Makes my day. Hugs. Thank you, Bideford. Let me put it on screen as well. It might help when I'm reading it out. There we go. Kevin Michael Reed. I've heard of that before from somewhere. How much power does a Californian lamppost have, and how does it compare to a Starship power? Well, if only with Alex on, because Alex could probably work that out. I will say, Magnus, I will say, they're very impressive streetlights. Are they streetlights even? I mean, they're very bright. I was kind of surprised when you showed me the view when you initially put the cameras on. I was like, that is quite bright. I mean, are they for any kind of like facility there, like the car park or something?
Yeah, as you can see, we just turned a police siren. But there is a car park here, a parking lot, and these are typical lampposts. Nothing too special about them, but they do look pretty nice. I don't know the exact wattage of the lights. They do look like they're around 3,000 Kelvin. If I were to take a guess, they're not bright white, but they're a little bit more on the yellow side. So I'd take a guess at maybe 4,000 Kelvin. They are LEDs. I can say that for a fact because you can see a little bit of flickering when you have cameras. But apart from that, that's about as much I can say on the lamppost side of things here. Would love to say more, but unfortunately, I wasn't planning on talking about lampposts, but here we are.
And so the people are wondering what that little weirdness was on camera there. That is a Starlink handover. Because whenever you hear Magnus on a kind of like dodgy connection on his mic or the screen goes a bit weird, and you'll go, why don't you get Starlink? Guess what? He's on Starlink. There we go. So you can't say anything about that. I do see UK people waking up. Back me up on the streetlights. I am quite impressed by the lamp wattage on those lights compared to what I'm used to. Mr. Fluffy, the Yorkshire man with the Yorkshire plan, watching the Californian rocket. Yeah, it's kind of weird, isn't it? But there we go. It's kind of story of my life these days. OSD Moody wants to know how much is the fairing itself compared to the re-entry kit that they add them to recovery, not knocking recovery efforts, but just trying to get an idea of how much has been saved. Good question. Obviously, only SpaceX will know that kind of cost figure. But I will say the fairings, the composites of the fairings do cost millions. And obviously, they've taken an approach of recovering them, so they've worked it out for themselves that whatever they are saving is considerable. Even with the recovery boats, I would say the recovery boats and ships are costing the most, more than recovery kits. So that's the thing there. Speaking of the booster, though, itself, this is booster 1100, we'll call it, or whatever. I don't know how you pronounce that one, because I'm so used to saying like 1073 and things like that. But Magnus got pictures of it. Here we go, look at this. Now, Magnus, tell me where you took these pictures.
Yeah, so this was taken at the port of Long Beach next to the SpaceX booster processing facility, where they will roll these or ship these boosters in to port after a booster lands. And of course, I Still Love You. It comes to Long Beach about a day and a half later. They will unload the boosters. Just like they do in Port Canaveral. They'll transition them to horizontal. They'll do some processing at a hangar there, and they'll throw them on a barge, and they'll barge them up to Vandenberg for launches just around 30 days after they land. So this was taken at that recovery facility at Port of Long Beach.
Very nice. Again, it's almost iconic. I think it's almost like edged into my brain now. This Falcon 9 font with the logo. It really is pretty. I mean, whoever thought of this up in the initial days, I remember actually seeing a picture of Hawthorne, the facility, and they had what looked like a spray tan area where they took the rockets through after they'd put them together and sprayed them. And it literally was a spray plant inside Hawthorne. And we've never seen it since, but it was always very amusing to think that's where they got that lovely colour scheme, and then only to get very sooty after their reflights, which is kind of hilarious, but there we go. OSD Moody's back saying, give me some sodium bulbs, I missed the warm lighting. These are all support messages. There's literally, it's a Vandenberg launch at a silly time of night or morning, depending on where you are. And the amount of support we're getting is crazy. Do not ever think I don't appreciate it. I really do. Apocalypse Cow, Danger moves in as well. Happy early morning, late night. So, Max Q, does the Q stand for the actual word or something, or does it sound something cool? You know what? My brain's not working. Magnus, help me out. Max Q, does the Q stand for something?
I am actually
I'm
a little bit unsure, but going to transition, we just got a confirmation that stage 1 RP1 load was complete and the engine chill began. We just heard that over the nets here at Vandenberg. Vandenberg is special in that we can actually hear what they're saying on mission control live as they say it. So I am listening into what they have to say, and I'll be relaying that information as soon as I get anything from mission control.
Very good. The Q stands for dynamic pressure. It's not a word. The YQ in physics, fluid dynamic formulas, the letter Q is standard symbol used for represent dynamic pressure. There we go. I completely read. I didn't read that from anywhere. I literally just remembered it. That's all it was. Seriously, I'm not joking. Rolls 33, thank you for the support. You've literally put in the message thanking yourself for the support. I'm going to thank you as well. Thank you very much for your support. It really is great. Philip Anderson, I know we're getting close. T-minus 5 minutes launch, so I'm very aware that at some point I will stop rambling and we'll listen to calls and we'll get ready for a rocket launch. But Philip Anderson wants to know, is there restrictions for covering Vandenberg missions for return to launch site landing for Falcon versus downrange drone ship landings? So when they do RTLS, Magnus, is there any restrictions in place because the rocket is returning back?
Yep, so the place I'm located right now, this public beach, is closed for return to launch site landings. So if this was coming back for landing, I would not be able to sit at this position. However, there are many places within the Lompoc Valley where you're able to watch these rocket launches. Sorry, just heard a strong back retract started. But in the case that this was a return to launch site, this would be closed. If this was a Slick 3 launch, it would most likely be closed as well. The beach is open exclusively for drone ship landings for SpaceX, or if they were expanding a booster, which we haven't seen at Vandenberg for many, many years.
Very good. Lucky people, look, we've now piped in the amazing views from the SpaceX pad cameras. So we have now got a wonderful quality stream where you can see everything you need to. Oh, it's foggy.
I don't think that's not fog. That's buffering on their end. The countdown. They forgot to show the camera.
Now, this is where I would normally be on X going with a screenshot going, typical Vandenberg, or guess the launch site, and everyone, 3 people would chuckle and about 5,000 people would groan. But that is the pad camera. That's the view from the pad. That just shows you how foggy it can get there. And I actually prefer your view, Magnus. It's great to say that. But I prefer seeing a bit of greenery. And of course, the now famous street lamps that I think we need to speak to Lindsay in the store and get street lamp merch into the store. Because I'm sure we might sell one T-shirt. Maybe. I don't know. But either way, SpaceX is live. We're getting calls, aren't we, Magnus? Let's get serious now. With 3 minutes to go to launch. What are we expecting next?
Yeah, so we just heard over the nets that lock load is complete on stage one. Stage 1. It wasn't entirely clear, but we just heard that confirmation. So they are preparing for that launch. Up next, we will enter startup in about a minute from now. 1 minute and 40 seconds. And we should hopefully see that launch in about 2 minutes and 30 seconds from now. I don't know if we will see anything. As you can see, those pad cameras from SpaceX themselves show a couple light bulbs. I don't think the SpaceX light bulbs are as nice as the ones I have right here. But so we're showing similar things, just from different locations.
There we go. 2 minutes to go to launch. Again, props to Vandenberg's team because the weather is not an effect on the rocket. I mean, this is something where the rocket is saying, I don't care if it's foggy. I'm fine launching through it. And in fact, I fully expect that when we get the SpaceX camera from the Falcon 9 itself looking downwards, we'll get it actually punching through the marine layer. The marine layer, Magnus, itself, I know we've got only a minute to go to launch, but quickly, the marine layer itself is only to a certain height, isn't it? It's not that high.
Yeah, the marine layer here is probably only 1,000, 2,000 feet high. So within about 20 seconds of flight, it's going to go to clear sky. I know a couple people are located other places in California who have complete clear views of the pad. We just heard ground gas closeouts.
Very good. Right, so we are getting closer to the T-minus 1 minute to launch. We'll get a few more calls out, and we're looking forward to hearing the launch director giving a go for launch. This is where I will talk less, and I will not talk during the launch itself, because I'm sure you'd rather hear a rocket rumble than a Yorkshireman. T-minus 1 minute. Should be 10 seconds to launch, director. Twenty seconds.
15 seconds. T-minus 10.
Wait for the orange glow. Wow. There we go. We got through the rumble. You might have heard me go, wow, which I shouldn't have done. It's very unprofessional with an open mic. But there was a kind of like a great kind of view from Magnus's camera where you could see the area just light up the ignition of Falcon 9. I thought that was really kind of special. Just seeing a different kind of unique view. Because I think we're all quite used to the standard views from our cameras at the Cape and also the camera SpaceX got. Oh, there we go. Be careful not to talk over calls here. We're under a minute from staging. We are through Max Q. About 20 seconds to staging. Coming up on 5,000 kilometers an hour. 38 kilometers high already.
Go.
Stage separation confirmed.
And back ignition.
Staging onto the Merlin back.
Fairing separation confirmed.
So now you got both the booster and the fairings returning. The fairings will return later, of course, but the actual booster itself is returning with its grid fins now deployed. We have some Alex facts in the background. 100th Falcon 9 launch of the year. I see Mr. Fluffy in chat, this never gets old. I agree. I've been doing many a landing, for example, where I've always found that still fascinating to me to this day, despite the hundreds of landings they've completed. Just for a second, you can see the telemetry of where the booster is coming. It's arcing back. It's still heading forward, obviously, for its velocity, but it's arcing towards, of course, I Still Love You, out in the Pacific Ocean. Also worth watching is the two telemetry screens, one on the left, one on the right. The one on the right is for stage 2. That is continuing to push, sending the Starlinks to their orbital inclination. And you've got on the left-hand side the booster's velocity and altitude. You'll see the altitude starting to drop now. We're a few minutes away from the re-entry burn. 3 engines will fire up. Usually in a sequence of 1, 3, 1. Now you've seen the altitude dropping quite fast now on the booster. Good comment from Flippers, one of our mods as well in chat. We always like it when people reply to our tweets. Say tweets, it's ex-post now, isn't it, these days? Where people show their personal viewing points. If you ever see one of our launch posts on X or any of the social medias, Facebook, we do all of them. Reply to it.
Stage 1 FDS is saved.
That's a flight termination system.
Stage 1 entry burn start.
There's one engine with 3.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
Back to 1 and then strip down. That's how they do it. 1, 3, 1. They call it a surfboard of fire because if you see the viewpoint, sometimes our camera, especially the Cape, will get a view of the entry burn. It does look like it's riding a surfboard. It's actually quite fascinating. You can see the velocity dropping now as well as the altitude. Now it's coming up to its landing burn. The landing burn is usually about 1,000 kilometers an hour, or just under.
Stage 1 transonic.
Already single engine firing up any second.
Stage 2 FTS is saved.
Stage 2, terminal guidance.
Stage 1 landing burn.
Here we go. It's aiming just away from the drone ship, and then the grid fins will come into action. It'll gimbal its engine as well to help it steer. Lovely.
Stage 1 landing confirmed.
And that's how they do that. Seems so simple, doesn't it? It's not. Big shout out to Lars Blackmore at SpaceX who helped design the software and the processes. Should hear nominal orbit.
Nominal orbit insertion.
There you go. So that all went well, didn't it? And that's, of course, all the reviews we'll be able to provide you for this one because, like I say, it's completely fogged out where Magnus is. But let me thank Magnus for taking the effort to go out there at this time of night. While we look at the best coast on the left-hand side, there we go. Look at this. The East Coast has chimed in, and look at the lack of fog there. That's all I'll say about that. But let me thank Magnus for being on stream. Thank you for going out there, Magnus.
Well, it's great to be here. It was great to hear a rocket. I didn't really get to see it, but I heard something, so that's always nice.
Indeed, and thank you to Sucknor in the background for producing. Again, this is our experiment. We're trying to bring you more and more Vandenberg streams, and we're doing these practices to do it, and hopefully we'll get some chances to do it without the fog. But until next time, thanks for joining us, and goodbye.
And here we go.
There's the deluge. Here's ignition.
Following up.
Did it just do a Kerbal?
Back to the moon and beyond.
Put that in the big bag, Gino.
Back at home, we all have a lot of work to do, but from here, it sure looks like a perfect world.
Propulsion continues to be nominal.
We did have an observation.
Equalize.
343 unfolds to go.
It's orange.
Water towers can fly!
Bingo! Right in the center. Where's Jacqueline? There it is!
That was surreal.
That's not what we want to see.
No!
Oh my God.
Yikes. You bet. We don't need any more of these.